Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another bonus episode of Let's Talk But No Politics Okay here on the Helium Radio Network. Coming to you every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And before we get into today's episode, I want to once again talk about our sponsor, the Podcast Precinct, located in North Tonawanda, New York. So if you're in the Western New York area and you're thinking about starting a podcast, not sure what to do, need a nice place to record it, maybe got kids, things get crazy or anything like that, the Podcast Precinct is where you're at, starting at wonderful prices, $20 a month per person on the podcast. So you could get in there, record your podcast, and have a nice little hobby, because that's what I do this for. I make no money off of it. These are people that enjoy doing what they're doing, love creating content, and loving everything about it. So if you're on the fence about starting a podcast and you live in the Western New York area and you don't want to go spend tons of money on equipment and everything else, or not even sure what to buy, reach out to the guys at the Podcast Precinct. They're always there to help you, because at the Podcast Precinct, it's consistency, creativity, and culture. All right. So going back into tiering, I kind of like doing the actors' movies tiering, because I'm a big movie fan. I just kind of decorated my studio / office / man cave with some lovely kind of signs, nice little metal signs, kind of cool. I got them off of Amazon, $10 a piece, not a sponsor. So Back to the Future, The Goonies, Forrest Gump, an like a fake Echo One license plate, and then a Velociraptor containment sign. Just from some movies that I really enjoyed growing up as a kid, that really meant things to me, and circling around the old interweb and everything else, starting think about other things I could do. And then I came across, if you follow the Let's Talk, but if you like the Let's Talk But No Politics Okay Facebook page, you'll know that there is Today in Pop Culture History every day. And it was Summer Rental was released, and I was like, oh, that's a great underrated John Candy, movie there. Good flick. So I went to the old A Tier Maker website, went looking around, typed in, John Candy movies, thinking I'm going to tier John Candy movies. And it came up with a different John that I think has another importance, I believe, in my childhood upbringing in the movies that he did. Very influential, and that is Mr. John Hughes. So I was like, okay, there's not all the John Hughes movies on this tier maker here, but there's some, and I wanted to go through and I wanted to tier them and see once again how I feel about it, because I feel like with this tiering, I can really think and look at something and give a good answer on how I feel about it, rather than just kind of going off, just sitting there going, oh, okay, that's this, that's that. But I think with these tiers, I look at it, I set the categories, I think it goes a little bit easier. So like I said, not all the John Hughes movies are in here, but quite a bit are. Quite a bit. Maybe just the ones I believe he probably directed or had something to do with. I know The Great Outdoors is missing on this, and some other ones. So I did not make this tier maker. This is a website. It's a lot of fun. Go check it out, tiermaker.com. Might as well give them a shout out since they've given us so, giving me able to do so much content. So I've broken it down into four categories. I think four is fine. If you get more, I think once you get into a little bit more than four, it gets a little bit difficult to place everything. So what what um what I have is in the four categories is all time classics. These are like all time 100% classics. I think everybody would pretty much agree with them. And the bottom one is a good watch. You know, it's not an all time classic, but it is a really good movie to watch. You want to definitely check it out. Uh, if you have kids, you know let your kids watch it because it's great. John Hughes movies are really great for. I know for me, even with like Home Alone for younger kids, but they also grow up with you, and I think that's why a lot of John Hughes movies are near and dear to people's hearts. And then there's really like, come on, what is this? We could have done better. This is not in your realm or anything of that nature. So, and then the next one is haven't seen it. I like I said, I can't see it all. I know some of these guys on YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, you already seen everything on there. Uh, these guys on YouTube, they got a lot of time. They see a lot of stuff. I can't see everything, but I've seen a lot because of growing up. So let's get into this tier list. And we are looking at our very first movie, which is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, starring Mr. Matthew Broderick. I think this is an easy one. This is an easy one. This is definitely not a good watch. This is an all time classic. And this definitely goes in the all time classics category. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Who from my generation didn't want to do what Ferris Bueller did? And in today's age, with cell phones and being able to track it, you wouldn't be able to do this. But Ferris pulled it off brilliantly. Was Abe, I want to say Abe Pagoda, but that's not it. He was the Sausage King of Chicago at one point. Did everything cruising around the big city in a classic Ferrari. Absolutely amazing. I know I know when I skip school, hopefully my kids don't listen to this. I know when I skip school, I wanted it to be every time like Ferris Bueller. Ferris set the standard, even though it's a movie, for skipping school and what it is. Absolutely amazing movie. Matthew Broderick does it great. I know there was a short lived TV show, but it will never be as good as the movie. The movie is absolutely fantastic. Rooney chasing him down. Nice cameo appearance by Charlie Sheen. Oh, I can't say enough about Ferris Bueller's Day Off and everything he pulls. I thought it was always amazing that he used his computer to change his grades. I know everybody thought you could just do that. And then the way that everything was set up in his room to, make set off the tape to have him roll over. Absolutely amazing movie. Uh, the next one is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I I was gonna put this in an all time classic, but I think it's a good watch. I know there's a lot of quotable moments in this movie. I just feel like it's a good watch because it's a Christmas movie, and I have like as a Christmas movie, if I was tiering this as a Christmas movie, this would be an all time classic. Let me get that out of the way. But as a Christmas movie, I can't. I'm one of those guys that can't watch Christmas movies all year long. I don't know if anybody else feels different about it, but I know I can. So I got to put it in a good watch. It's a good watch. Maybe if you want to watch it in like June or July, or you're feeling a little Christmas spirited. But I normally don't start watching Christmas movies until after Thanksgiving. I get called a Grinch. I get called, you know, um, Scrooge. I get called everything. But as it stands, it's a good watch. That's what it is. It's a good watch. So Uncle Buck is the next one, and I think that's an all-time classic. In the beginning of this episode, I started talking about John Candy. John Candy is absolutely amazing in this. This is probably, and some people might get mad, but this is probably my favorite John Candy movie of all time. Um, the cooking of the breakfast is still my favorite scene. You know how big the pancakes were, and I love the line, "You should see the toast." I couldn't even fit it through the door because he was flipping pancakes with a snow shovel. If you've never seen Uncle Buck or any of these movies, please go check them out. Especially the ones that I've seen. It looks like I got a couple that I still gotta go see as I'm looking at the bottom, but I don't want to spoil too much. But Uncle Buck, Uncle Buck's an all-time classic. Another one that they try to make a TV show out of with Kevin Mimi, and it didn't have that flair to it. Uh, my good friend Gary Threat from Husky Heroes, he, I love the guy. I love him. He's my guy, but he also tried to convince me that Kevin James is the new John Candy, and I was like, no, no, no. But Uncle Buck, great. National Lampoon's Vacation, that's an all-time classic. That is truly an all-time classic. Just the whole movie, I think, because it sets the stage for European, the Christmas Vacation, even Vegas. The new one that came out, kind of called Vacation, it set the stage. The whole Wally world. Another great appearance by John Candy in this as well. So I gotta say, that's an all-time classic. Weird Science. Now I could put this into a good watch or an all-time classic. I think it goes very well into either one. But in my mind, when you come to John Hughes movies, this is an all-time classic because once again, it's still in that '80s computer thing where we're still trying to figure out what computers can do, and yet all of a sudden they make this woman and she's got powers and she can do things and they throw big parties and they become popular, and it's kind of the dork becomes the king. Robert Downey Jr. is in this one. Plays a bully, and it's great. I don't know if it holds up to today, but it's an all-time classic. 16 Candles. I'm going to warn you, there's probably going to be a lot in the all-time classics. 16 Candles. Yeah, all-time classic. Great Molly Ringwald. If it's an '80s movie and it has Molly Ringwald in I think it automatically goes into the all-time classic. As a kid, I got this mixed up with Pretty in Pink, but it's great as well. John Cusack's in this one, little cameo in there from John Cusack, Anthony Michael Hall. Absolutely amazing movie. You get an appearance by Long Duck Dong, and with the whole automobile and everything else. She's having a baby. I probably did see this. This sounds like something my mother or my aunt would have rented, and I don't remember exactly seeing it. So I got to put it in haven't seen. Home Alone. Home Alone's an all-time classic. Macaulay Culkin, also in Uncle Buck. But this kind of put Macaulay Culkin over the mountain, we can say, where he became a big star in Uncle Buck. He was great in Uncle Buck. If you've never seen Uncle Buck, go check that out as well. Like I said, but Home Alone. I know I'm breaking my rule of a Christmas movie, but the aspect of Home Alone makes it an all-time classic. There's always an exception to the rule. These are my rules. I can break them and bend them as I want. Like I said, I post these videos on YouTube. Please leave comments down below. I love hearing feedback. So, I mean, if you want to call me out on it, call me out on it. But like I said, there's always some exceptions to the rule. But Home Alone, that's an all-time classic. 100%. 100%. If you're my generation there, you know, I was born in the early 80s, so I think I was anywhere between, I don't even know when Home Alone came out. 91, 90, 89, somewhere around there. So I'm anywhere between 9 to, I don't know. I don't even know. But it's an all-time classic. Very good. Another one of those movies now. Today, technology just ruins it. It would never happen. He would probably have a cell phone, you know, a, uh, a laptop, everything known to man, and it would just be ruined. Oh, I text my mom, let her know that I'm still here. Totally ruined. So next one is Home Alone 2. Is Home Alone 2 as good as Home Alone? It is, but it isn't. I still think it keeps the same magic, but is it necessary to watch? After Home Alone, like it's a sequel, but it's not 100% necessary. I think if you watch Home Alone, and you never watch another Home Alone again, you're fine. So that's why I'm gonna put Home Alone 2 into a good watch. I did an episode probably about a week or two ago, a main episode, movies that didn't need sequels. You could almost say Home Alone could find it kind of fit in there, but at least the sequel was good. That's the part. The sequel is good. It's a good watch. It's another one of those around Christmas time type things. Again, um, that you just kind of hop in and you watch. Sometimes you watch Home Alone 1 and 2 back to back at Christmas time. I don't know. I've done it a couple of times with my kids. Career opportunity, I have never seen. Pretty in Pink, it has to go. It has to go to all time classics. It's Pretty in Pink. Once again, Molly Ringwald, 80s movie. John Hughes, all time classic. 100%. Right in there. Uh, Ducky, John Cryer as Ducky, is it's kind of funny. I have a funny story about that. My daughter watched this movie. I have not seen this movie in years, but it's still an all-time classic in my mind. My daughter was watching this movie. She said she wanted some good teen 80s movies. She's a teenager, more in the younger stages of it. So she wants this fantasy, falling in love type stuff. So I told her watch, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, and then she started watching Pretty in Pink, and she got this crush on Ducky, John Cryer. So flipping through the channels, I was like, do you want to see what he looks like now? And she was like, yeah. And so I put on Two and a Half Men, and she was pretty horrified. Let's just say that crush on Ducky wasn't as big as it was before. So let's move on to the next one. I think I feel bad for doing this because John Hughes was so amazing for me as a kid. Uh, All time classic, Breakfast Club. Molly Ringwald. The whole Brat Pack is pretty much in this. Anthony Michael Hall, Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson. It goes there. It just all fits perfectly. Great story, great everything. I know the first time I got detention, it wasn't on a Saturday. I figured it was going to be awesome, like the Breakfast Club, and it was nothing like the Breakfast Club. I don't remember anybody I was even in detention with. So, movie set the high standard as a kid, and reality lowers that standard. real quick. But Breakfast Club, all time classic. I would still sit down and watch this today. So next one is Dennis the Menace. Uh, I really enjoyed this. I'm not going to say it's an all time classic. I'm going to say it's a good watch. Very, very good movie. Walter Matthau plays a great Mr. Wilson. Um, I think all the characters are very well. It it's good for what it is. It's a kids movie. If you look at it anything outside of a kids movie, then don't watch movies. Okay, because I've seen a lot of adults look. When you look at a kids movie with adult eyes, it's going to be stupid. But when you look at a kids movies with kids eyes, it's very well. And I think this is a good watch as I balance it between thinking about it as a child and as an adult. It's a cool balance. I think if I sat down, or I did sit down with my kids and watch it, they enjoyed it. There were some things where now I look back and go, okay, that's a little over the top, but it's still a good family movie just to sit down and watch and have a good time watching as well. Um, Little Mason Gamble in there, kind of just got this part by oops, not a trained actor or anything like that, but yet he played a wonderful Dennis, absolutely wonderful Dennis. Because like when I get into the story, Christopher Lloyd's this bad guy in this very quiet town, and he robs Mr. Wilson, and then he ends up, spoilers, ends up kidnapping Dennis. Dennis saves the day, wraps him up, brings him back home in the wagon. Very, very odd. Very odd, like, oh my goodness, that could never happen. But it's fun. It's fun. It's a very fun movie. So the next one is Dutch. I'm going to put this in good watch. It's not an all time classic. If I did make an underrated category, this is probably the most underrated John Hughes film movie there is. Ed O'Neill is absolutely amazing in Dutch. Little premises of the story might be some spoilers. You got this kid, he's in a boarding school. He's like this rich kid, very snobby, kind of, loner type, arrogant. And the mother sends her new boyfriend, Dutch, to go get him from the boarding school and bring him home for Thanksgiving. They go on this little road trip where they go through many different life experiences and grow a bond together. Kind of like one of those type of movies, but it's great. I think a lot of people don't enjoy it, but I really did. And that's why I got to put it into a good watch. Curly Sue. Where do I put Curly Sue? Where do I put Curly Sue? Do I put it in a good watch? Do I put it in an all time classic? I don't know what to do with Curly Sue. Um, Looking back on it, I'm gonna put it in a good watch. I think it's in that same category as Dutch, underrated. You have to have grown up within that time period or generation, and that's probably the only way that you know about Curly Sue or have ever heard of Curly Sue at all. Who I get them mixed up. It's Jim Belushi who plays. Uh, it's not even his kid, as far as I remember. Spoilers. Sorry. If you ever watch any of these, just spoilers constant. So Jim Belushi is this homeless guy. He travels with this girl, Curly Sue, and they get kind of mixed up in almost. They run a scam of, to get some food from this rich lady, saying that she hit him. She really does. Uh, Jim Belushi and the lady fall in love. She's this high powered executive career woman. He's this homeless guy. almost Pretty in Pink-esque, but there's a child mixed in there as well. And that's pretty much Curly Sue in a nutshell. Curly, yeah. So that's why it's in the good watch. Home Alone 3. Is there any other spot for this? But really? Did we need Home Alone 3? No. Should have mentioned this into the sequel things. We did not need it. I understand. Uh you couldn't it's not even Kevin McAllister, I don't believe. Some kid he's homesick with a parrot and he foils burglars once again. Same premise. I don't even think it's Christmas time, but it is winter time. And it just doesn't I don't know. It doesn't have that same feel like Home Alone 1 and 2 did. Uh it's just not good. Well, I don't think it's good. I watched it. I think my kids wanted to watch it, so I was like, whatever, put it on. Maybe I could catch some Z's, get a little nap in. You guys are watching a movie, you're occupied. My kids are older. Um, and then I watched it and I was like, this is stupid. This is just not even good. It's kind of entertaining, but it's not something too great. And then here's one that I was surprised is he did the live version of 101 Dalmatians. That's kind of a really I've seen it. It's okay, but when I put it in perspective with the other movies, your Ferris Bueller's, your Uncle Buck's, all this stuff, it it comes down to being a really, just an absolute really. It's not. It no. Putting it, if it was somebody else, like in a Disney movie, I think it might be higher. But since I'm doing this with John Hughes, films, it's a really. And the last one is Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. That's an easy one right there. That's an all-time classic. Great duo in Steve Martin and John Candy. Uh, just the mishap ensues all over the place. It's your standard comedy movie, but done so classically well. So that is my tier of John Hughes movies. So in the all-time classics, I have Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, National Lampoon's Vacation, Weird Science, 16 Candles, Home Alone, Pretty in Pink, The Breakfast Club, and Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. A good watch is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's the other thing. I think it's like Christmas Vacation, but they don't go anywhere. Home Alone 2, Dennis the Menace, Dutch, and Curly Slew. And then like the really, like really, did we need this? Is Home Alone 3 and 101 Dalmatians. And haven't seen She's Having a Baby. I probably have seen it, but I probably haven't seen it since it came out. And Career Opportunities. So that is the list. And I thank you once again for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. And remember to catch new episodes of Let's Talk But No Politics, okay? These are main episodes on the BICBP Radio Network. That's bicbp-radio.com. Go check it out. Podcasts for everyone over there. Also, I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music. Go check that all out. And always come back every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Helium Radio Network. Also, go check out the Let's Talk But No Politics Okay Facebook page. I will get the toy tournament back up. Facebook is being Facebook because they've will not let me make a poll, so I have to make graphics for them, but that's neither here or there. You probably don't want to hear about that. And with all that being said, and go check out the Let's Talk But No Politics Okay YouTube channel, and you can follow along with me with this video. And with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.